It was the largest ink painting that Chen Wen Hsi had ever done.
The most shocking for me was how brittle the paper was.
每一张画都有不一样的办法来对付它。
This is the chance to give the artwork the new life.
Today we are at the Heritage Conservation Center. We are at the first day of the treatment. So today is more like a preparation day before we can actually start the conservation treatment on the Gibbons, the artwork. My name is Mariko. I am a paper conservator working at the Heritage Conservation Center in Singapore. As a paper conservator, I work as various paper artifacts. So that can include all the documents and artworks on paper such as watercolor paintings, pastel drawings, and also the books. The conservation project for the Gibbons has been very unique and special for many of us working at the Heritage Conservation Center and the National Gallery Singapore because, first of all, the artwork is very large.
Well, I think the first thing you'll notice about this artwork is its monumental scale. And of course, the large number of gibbons that we see, playfully placed amongst this grand cliff face. It was a work that was commissioned for the Central Provident Fund. They were moving into Singapore's Central Business District, and Chen Wen Hsi was commissioned to paint this work for their building. So the work was painted in the 1970s, completed in 1977. It was the largest ink painting that Chen Wen Hsi had ever done, and it remains so until the end of his practice. And I think it was really for him a way to express a certain point in his artistic career where he was very accomplished, very confident, and also in some ways really regarded as a master of the ink medium. Gibbons were a very favoured subject of Chen's, and it really ties back to, again, his commitment to the practice of Chinese ink painting.
So in 2015, the work was acquired, and then there was a request to actually display the work in the National Gallery. So for the first phase of the work, it actually entails documenting down the condition of the work and also carry out any tests that is required. For this part, I think it's important for us to do our groundwork, to understand the work and to see what is its current condition and then what materials would be best suited to treat the work. Because without doing that examination, I don't think you'll be able to do a proper diagnosis of the work and prescribe a suitable treatment to better preserve it. Because in the future, you never know, perhaps there might be a better way of conserving this work. And that's why it's actually important to capture these decisions that were made.
So for this Gibbons conservation treatment project, we decided to work with external scroll mounters, namely Eve, her father Mr. Chan, and their assistant Mr. Popo. So if she has worked with Heritage Conservation Center and other museums in Singapore for a lot of Chinese ink artworks in the past.
My name is Zhang Yan. I'm graduate from the China Academic Arts. Then now is holding the master's degrees in Chinese painting restoration.
So now I'm doing a paste. Okay, so this paste is using the natural flour to do it. So I add some water, distilled water, because we cannot use other normal water. Tap water also cannot. This actually is from from Tang Dynasty in China. So they are using the flour because last time we don't have any much material to choose. So because the flour got the sticky, so like the materials can stick together. Because we don't add any chemical things, so it's very, very natural. So it even can eat. That's why Chinese painting can live 1,000 years.
Okay, so for the preparation process, Okay, we need to choose the Xuan papers and then the backing papers and the silk border, the materials. Okay, so when we choose the materials, we need to find out what kind of the quality Xuan paper we use. Because the Xuan paper is a product from in China, Anhui Jingxian. The Xuan paper, the fiber is long and smooth also.
Stage 1, the preparation process will take roughly 5 working days because again the Gibbons is such a large artwork, so we need to prepare a lot of materials. So today is day 9 and we started washing the Gibbons this morning. You might be a little bit shocked by hearing washing paper, but it's a literal meaning that we apply a lot of water over the paper to basically reduce the discoloration or the impurities that can cause the discoloration and the stains onto the paper. We are applying a lot of warm water over the Gibbons paper. And then Eve and her colleagues are kind of rolling out the impurities with the rolled up cotton towel. So right now we have catered about 2 weeks to finish this washing process, but it all depends on how reactive the Gibbons paper is.
Before we washing, so we need to do the water test, on the colors. Yeah, so the first stage is now we're using the distilled water to touch the colors. Then we're using the test paper to test, actually the color won't come out anymore. Then little bit colors is on the test papers. So that's why we're using another chemical to protect the colors, to just touch the leaf only.
In the first stage, we apply the rather smaller amount of water very slowly, and this was to make sure that the Gibbons paper is absolutely lying flat and almost attached to the surface of the table.
Okay, so now I'm washing once for the whole paintings right now. So the next, we need to actually rearranging many times as can until the color becomes white. Maybe next 2 days, 3 days, we need to still have this process going on until the water becomes clean.
One of the clear differences between the oil paintings conservation and Chinese ink paintings conservation would be the usage of a lot of water in the Chinese ink paintings conservation. And water can be a huge benefit, but at the same time it can be a huge risk to the painting itself. If any damage is made by the application of water to the paper-based artwork, the result would be quite tragic.
After 6 rounds washing the printings, you can see the colors until the last round of the colors is very different. So until the last round, we see the color is clean, so we decide to stop washing, so we complete the washing process.
So today on the 14th day, we have applied some additional moisture onto the Gibbons because the artwork was pretty dry in the morning.
So we're using the water to moisturize the printings, then we're using the big paper roll on the painting to try to fade over. You see, like such big paintings, we cannot just fade over. So we try to using this technique to roll on, so it's for the painting it's more safe.
And after that, we unroll the painting, this time facing down, so that we can remove the old lining paper from the back of the painting, which still involves with a lot of water to soften the adhesive.
So for the next process, we are starting doing the remove the backing. So later we need to find out how many layers are they there. Yeah, so it must be layer by layer to remove. Because the backing is more than 50 years ago. So actually you can see the backing paper also turn yellowish. So during the remove the backing papers, we need more patience and passion also, because this is cannot rush working. So we need to 1 milli and 1 milli, and the layer by layer to remove the backing also. So we need to control our fingers also. So like a 轻功. So during the process, we also very shocked to realize the newspaper is behind.
So when we were removing the backing layers, I think it was when we were very close to reach the actual paintings paper, we found few pieces of newspaper from 1970s. They were used as a part of the lining layer on the back of the painting. It was a completely unexpected finding for all of us who were involved in the treatment. And it was interesting because it could tell how the Gromonter was working in his studio and what kind of material he was using. But because newspaper in general is known to contain a lot of acidic material, so yeah, that was why we decided to remove it together with the rest of the lining paper.
别人字它现在呢叫黑点，它本身这个字本身黄点出来的，影响到后面。每一张画都有不一样的办法来对付它，所以要做好一幅画，我讲到3个原则不能够离开：一个要有技术，第二个要高的思想品德来做一张画，不是为了赚钱。第3个选料。 我们做那张画，补的这个洞、补的纸、补的绢，粗细、厚薄、年份都要对齐。说我们做一张画，做的人首先考虑到我们应该选用什么材料来起到把一张画做好的作用。
When we were planning the conservation treatment, our main objective was, first of all, to recover the paper's flexibility or strength as much as possible. Because even if the colors on the paper is very vibrant and beautiful, if the paper that is holding the colors are degrading and crumbling away, I think there is no point of having beautiful colors, or eventually it's not possible for the colors to exist if the paper support is gone. So this process of lining paper removal will take about a week. So by the end of this week, we should be able to apply the new lining paper. And then after that, the artwork will be left to dry for a few weeks to a couple of months. So today is our 18th day in the process, and since the morning we have been repairing all the tears and losses using the old lining paper that Eve and her team have removed from the back of the Gibbons last week, and then we proceeded on to the application of new lining paper using the starch paste. One thing is, yes, the painting is reacting very favorably to what we are doing. More importantly, from the conservator's point of view, the paper's quality has improved so much, so it doesn't feel very brittle as before.
Okay, the damaged part is like a hole. Some of the details is the missing. It's like a tree branch. Okay, so like this kind of the repair, we just using the sand paper to put it out.
这个只是那个地方原来一个破的地方拿下来的，现在洗好了以后，再把这块东西找出来，放回原来的那个地方进去，是为了起这个作用的。所以我们尽量保持它原来的画面，不影响它，我们尽量给它补出来，这样呢起到所以说我们做的是保护画面，这个我们所应该做到的一个责任。
Okay, so now we're doing the first lining on the paintings. So we're using the 5 pieces of paper drawing together for the huge paintings also.
这个就是我们称之为覆背纸，把它覆到这个作品的背面去。但是呢，我们为什么要用这个杆子把它连在一起呢？是因为它尺幅比较大，我们手去拉的时候它不容易平整，因为它纸的话是软的，也会变形。这个是最后一张，对。
Okay, so actually for the restoration or for the mounting for the Chinese paintings, it's just from the dry to wet and the white to dry. Why I say that? Because you see, when we do the mounting, when the painting is dry, we need to put on the waters. Then I put on the layers and put on the paste. This is all wet. Then after wet, then we'll need to wait until dry. So that's why the whole process is a dry to wet, wet to dry. The process and repeat again.
The first lining paper we call mints. The name of mints is live paper because this is the chance to give the artwork as the new life. So this means why it's very important is because need to stick to the painting itself to give first layer the supporting. So that's why we call it the mints. When we put on the mints, the first lining papers, we need to make sure no eye bubbles, no wrinkles. The reason is that maybe after 10 years, 20 years, you can see the bubbles will separate the backing paper and the actual paintings.
So just now we are doing the very difficult parts is the drawing line. So we make sure every paper to drawing is about 1 cm around the size. Okay, so the ranjutiao is actually to protect the paintings. So if let's say we don't have the ranjutiao, so the silk border is actually directly touch the paintings. But now we put on the ranjutiao, that means we have the gap from the borders and the paintings. So maybe for the next time the restoration, when they want to cut off the silk borders, won't be cut off the paintings.
After put on the mints, so we need to let the painting dry. This is the waiting periods. We need to double check, make sure don't have any bubbles. So we need to wait for the drying as long as we can. Because the drying period is to help painting to straighten and the flat.
The painting was left to dry for about 4 months, and I'm sure this period of time sounds very long to dry a piece of paper, but it was very necessary. I would say in paper conservation, perhaps the drying process is the most important or critical. Even if we successfully carry out all the repairs, if we rush for the drying process, it could cause very ugly wrinkles, undulations, and stains again. So today is the first day when we first came back to work on the Gibbons painting again. After 120 days have passed, I am quite relieved to see the Gibbons has dried in a very good, stable condition. Today we are going to do is a retouching of the lost colors on the painting. This is one of the interventive size of treatments.
Okay, so just now this one is got hole here, so I think it's some of the small piece missing. So I'm using the traditional Chinese pigment to touch out, so let the color is more even and complete. Yeah. We try to don't touch out too much, so we're just using a similar color to touch out the very tiny the place. Yeah, but now we try to doing the Gibbons arms, so that's actually quite big, maybe 2 cm of the holes. So I'm trying to also using the color, the similar color to touch up.
The entire process of paper conservation, its aim is not to make the painting look as if it is freshly out of the artist's studio. What we would like to achieve is, by applying new materials, new colors, we would like to make the color losses, for example, look less disturbing for the people who would look at the artwork in the museum or any other environment. It is not to hide the history of any losses in the paintings. One of the most memorable moments for me during this entire process, I could see that it's not just about the painting became cleaner, but it was more about some of the colors, particularly to me, blue and green became so much more vibrant and vivid. So today is the 140th day since we started the treatment. In this process, we applied another layer of backing layer, which is the final layer of this painting. And also, once this layer is dried, we attach the strips of light yellow silk borders along all the 4 edges of the painting. Prior to applying the silk borders, they have decided to add one more layer of Chinese paper because they feel their silk is a little bit too thin to make the surface between the painting itself and the silk border is to be absolutely seamless.
就我现在要把它给裁齐，裁齐之后我要把两边。 这作品两边，这上面这边跟上面下面那边，我们要贴大概25公分的这个丝绸。
So this is our second piece of the silk border. The first piece we are put on the painting already. So you can see the difference. So it's the white color, and then now is the light green color of the silk. What are we doing is now we adjust the line to make sure the silk border won't touch the painting also. Then leave it here is about maybe 1 mm, 2 mm about the guides to protect the painting too. So I'm holding it. Then make sure the silk border is very straight.
I would say compared to the previous 3 stages, this finishing process is much more relaxed, but as this will really be the final opportunity for us as well to make sure everything looks nice.
For the traditional steps, actually put on the silk border first, then put the backing papers. Silk borders we put on the last step because we are considering the painting size is too big, and because the problem is the flip over the paintings. Because the silk material is luxury materials, let the paintings look like very elegant and soft, and even the color, because we choose the light cream colors, silk border will extend the painting. Other things is the silk borders will prevent the paintings wear and tear.
After this, so we will let it dry again about 1 to 2 months. So today is the 201st day, and this is the last day for us. We are going to do the waxing and burnishing of the gibbons from the back of the painting. And this is to make the paper more flexible and to some extent supple, particularly when we want to roll and unroll it, and therefore that will be safer for the artwork.
Okay, so this is the wax. Okay, so this is we call Chuan La. Okay, it's the insect wax. It's the very natural ones. It's from the scale insect. So this wax is like the painting smooth. Okay, so that means one very light layer of the to protect the paintings. Also, it's like a moisturizer. I'm doing the burnishing. Okay, so like the painting, as you can see now, we have a bit shining on the backing. So we're using the stone to slowly to move, let the paintings more soft and flattening. Then see this. Then must using the full body. Yeah, it's very tiring. Yeah, because the body position is not perfect. Yeah, so normally we're using the two hands to hold the stone to push from up and down. But now we just do the side body, then also using one hand. So we're using the wax, and this is rock. So these two items to help the paintings more soft and smooth. Because it's like the traditional restoration is from 1,000 years ago. So last time they don't have any tools, it's all from the naturals. Totally complete now. So actually, thanks for everybody to help. Yeah, I'm feel also very successful with this such big paintings. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so we completed all the conservation treatment work a month earlier than I initially planned.
I quite like to share my experience to everybody. So like the people to know what's the conservation works about the Chinese paintings. So my father, he has 60 years experience for the restoration work. So now he passed to me, so I also want to pass to the next generations to let the artwork life, more lasting, then more people to appreciate of the art piece. So yeah, I really want to share about this experience for everybody.
Now it's in the box, and then after that, it will probably have to stay in the labs until we can deliver it to the National Gallery Singapore for installation. So it's been 154 days since we have completed the conservation treatment. And today we are going to finally transport the treated gibbons from the Heritage Conservation Center to the National Gallery Singapore. Because the gibbons is such a big artwork, even after it is rolled up and it's in a box, it is very difficult to carry safely if you don't have enough number of people.
Basically, before the artifact goes out, what we have to do is that we will scan out this RFID tag, which is how we constantly track the location of the artifact. So after we scan it out, we will generate a movement form which we will sign with NGS.
Basically, I was checking whether it's properly wrapped, then also to check and make sure that it's properly secured to the truck.
Now we have left the Heritage Conservation Center and on our way to the National Gallery Singapore. I guess I would say I feel relieved that the Gibbons is finally ready to be installed in the gallery. I am very much looking forward to joining my gallery colleagues for the installation of the Gibbons.
So today I've received the Gibbons work and we're brought it up to the Singapore Gallery once, and that is the final display location. So we decided to do the mounting work in the gallery space because the work is large. And once the work is there, I will check the work to see whether this is the correct work. And we're going to do the mounting tomorrow.
Today is the 356th day, and we are now at Singapore Gallery number 1. So today I'm working with 3 of my colleagues from the Heritage Conservation Center, namely Viknesh, Noor and Kawai. They are from the paper conservation section.
What we are doing right now is smoothing the edges so that will not kind of like cause any rough edge or even cut the hinges.
And then after that, we unrolled the Gibbons on top of the strainer board and covered it with material called bondina. This is to simply protect the surface of the painting. The goal for this treatment is to mount and stretch the Gibbons onto the new strainer board without any undulations or wrinkles or unevenness. We want to see the Gibbons absolutely flat on the wall. When the Gibbons was unrolled this morning, it was actually undulated quite a lot. Yeah, and that was because of the it was previously rolled for a good few months. Right now, we are humidifying the Gibbons. First of all, we have wet this large sheet of paper called blotting paper, and then the wetting of this blotting paper was done with a very fine spray.
The reason why blotting paper is used is so that it actually enables like a very slow, gradual release of moisture.
And the result is very subtle, a bit too subtle for this size of the artwork. So we decided to add more water by using these pieces of capillary mud. So this capillary mud can hold water very well for a long time. And right now we are placing the capillary muds in the kind of middle of this big blotting paper so that the water from the capillary mud can spread through the blotting paper across the Gibbons.
Because the media is also very sensitive, so we don't want to like cause any kind of tight lines. Because eventually this humidification package, we will wrap it with a plastic sheet also, so it's kind of like a humidity chamber to help relax the paper, so it's almost like a spa.
Yeah, so I think Eve mentioned that the whole treatment process was routine of wet to dry, dry to wet, and in a way we are doing exactly the same thing, and then we're gonna do the hinging while it's still wet. And over the next couple of days, we hope that it will dry under some level of tension. And then by next week, when we do the installation, it's fully dry. There is no wrinkles or stains. Start from here and then we go this way. Yeah. These pieces of Japanese papers are the contact points between the gibbons and the strainer board. For the paper conservation, most of the time we use the starch paste to apply these hinges, the Japanese paper hinges, onto the artwork edges. I think we applied close to 100 pieces of Japanese paper all along the edges with starch paste. And then this Japanese paper will be attached to the back of the strainer board so that the paper of the gibbons is not adhered anywhere of the strainer board. For paper artworks, because most of the time a piece of paper is very floppy and soft, and so we want to give it a bit more rigid support before it can be on the wall.
This is day 360 and it's the last day of this process, and we're going to install the artwork today. My name is Hafiz Osman and I'm from the Artwork Exhibition Management team, and I will be overseeing the installation.
There are 7 top and 3 below. Yeah, 3, but you confirm the top 7 first.
So basically the first step would be taking measurement of the artwork. Generally different painting has a different character. So in terms of our installation, what is very key is that every single centimeter counts. What happened now is that we have 10 of these French clip which are going to be mounted onto the wall. And out of these 10, 7 will be at the top of the painting and 3 will be at the bottom. It's about 9.6.
9.6 in our
570. One of the challenges that we face is that the artwork is rather large comparing to the wall space that we have. Second challenge that we have for this particular work is that we are installing it on a slope. So installing artwork on a slope will create a kind of an illusion that the artwork is installed slanted. So this is where we will need to discuss with the curator in terms of how the curator wants the work to be displayed. So for a big installation like this, we normally use this self-leveling laser. It's a Leica Lino L2 P5. It can laser up to 25 meters. So for this particular work, we use this laser to capture the horizontal and the vertical line of the artwork and also for the wall. So it kind of like help us catching the right alignment of the work. It's easy for us to install the French clip. What you can see now is the back of the painting. This French clip is going to be sitting to the mount of the French clip on the wall. So what I'm doing now is that I'm making measurement. So I'm just making sure that the alignment measured accurately to the wall mount. 1 cm that makes a lot of difference. So I think we just want to make sure that we get it right first time. Yeah.
Okay, lebih dong ya. Angkat ya, angkat. 59. Oke, masukkan lagi bawah, masukkan lagi. Waktu dalam, tekan naik ya. Ini tepat ya.
So for this particular work, the curators prefer it to be frameless. So I think to have it frameless creates enough space for the work to breathe on that wall itself. I heard about this work in 2017 and we discussed whether or not it's going to happen. The fact that it took quite a while for the work to come into the space, I felt like a homecoming for the work itself.
Turun sini. Ya. Sana turun.
It's really exciting to be able to have Gibbons on display. It's the first time in almost 2 decades that the public is able to view this work.
Yeah, I'm so relieved that it's finally on the wall. I can sleep now. By doing the interventive conservation treatment First of all, the paper of the Gibbons, which was very brittle before, has been cleaned and got much more flexible, supple, and strong. And then it has got a few layers of lining paper and silk borders all around the edges. So that also gives a great amount of support, and also it can give the artwork space to breathe. So the Gibbons used to have quite a few large, seriously bad tears by applying layers of lining paper from the back of the painting. Now those tears were securely held. And then on top of that, there were a lot of small tears here and there. So all the physical damages were repaired. I have to say, the whole painting has got so much cleaner as well visually. So a lot of stains have got so much lighter than before. In return, the colors that Chen Wen Hsi had applied got more vivid. I hope with our very intensive conservation treatment together with the mounting method, I really hope that the Gibbons can enjoy much healthier and longer life.
So I think seeing this work really brings forward what we hope in this exhibition, which is to really foreground artists' stories. We really hope people walk away with a sense of wonderment and contemplation, not just appreciating the scale of the work, but really the ambition of Chen's artistic legacy.
当然，我的画现在呢已经有一种，我自我的这个派头，但是我也不自满。我天天呢就是想我这面能够创作更好的东西。